On this week's episode, we're talking about Loki, what we like, what we didn't like, and some speculation on the future. Make sure you stick around. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Punch. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening in on the audio version on talkpunch.com or wherever you get your podcast, please consider subscribing and make sure you come back here every Wednesday for a new episode. I am Brody Hanson, joined, as always, by Charlie Hickman. Charlie, what's going on, man?
Mr. B, I'm excited to talk a little Loki tonight. Just good to see you.
Good to see you too. Now, did you watch Loki? All of it? You binged it?
Oh no, I didn't watch. I didn't watch any of it. So no, this would be the perspective. No, yeah, I watched all of it. I binged it. It was glorious. I'm firmly rooted in my strategy with these Marvel shows to kind of wait till they're finished and then just steamroll them.
How quickly did you watch this? All in one day?
No, I split it over two days. So.
That's a
Look,
lot.
if I started earlier, I could have done it all. This was a very bingeable series.
It was a bingeable series. Yes, normally Amy and I watch the episodes as they come out. But for whatever reason, this one was harder. I don't know if it's because the episodes were longer. I think these were the same episode lengths as Falcon and Winter Soldier, though. Not Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yes, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like the 40.
Well, to be fair, you've been traveling for like 2 weeks visiting
minutes.
Family and stuff. So
yes, there was also that. But like the first two episodes came out before we even left, and we watched the first one, and Amy fell asleep. We watched the second one, we both fell asleep. I tried to watch the second one again, fell asleep again. I don't know if what it was. If I was just watching it too late, I kept falling asleep. So then we went on vacation for 2 weeks, and then we came back, and I was like, all right. We need to watch this thing. So
did you rewatch the episodes that you kind of slept through? Because maybe you and I, maybe we'll talk about this because maybe you and I had two very different impressions of the show. It certainly sounds that way based on what I'm hearing out of your tired mouth.
I'm so tired. I'm always tired, Charlie. I'm so tired. It's what 4 kids does, man. 4 kids makes you tired. Oh,
one kid makes you tired. Yeah. They're little energy suckles.
All right. So, I mean, just okay. So, overall thoughts, Charlie. What were your overall thoughts of Loki?
I really liked it a lot. I have a soft spot in my heart for time-based sci-fi films.
Sure.
Love me some day repeating sci-fi. I love me some time travel. I love me some mischievous Loki. This is my favorite Loki. Look, I've had some Loki fatigue at various moments in the MCU. Like that he just kind of keeps coming back and then he kind of keeps doing the same stuff, and they're kind of like, oh, maybe this time he's not going to do the stuff, and then he does the stuff. But I like Tom Hiddleston a lot, and actually I like all the performances I thought were great. Natalie Holt did the music for this, and I thought it was like phenomenal. Like the theremin in the score was just like absolutely like a home run for me. Kate Herron did a great job with the show. I thought just like the look of the TVA, all that stuff just really worked for me. There was some really like nice moments of humor and romance, and even like some like 48 Hours, Beverly, not Beverly Hills Cop, but like buddy cop stuff, Lethal Weapon type buddy cop stuff going on. It was great. It was. Like the action sequences were really well done. I like the Loki variants were fun. Even Miss Minutes and her little cartoony. That's very nice. Owen Wilson's mustache. I mean, what's not to love?
Sure.
And I'm really excited about the way that it set up season 4. I'm sorry, you're giving me that tired. Like you got nothing else to say. You want more? I can give you more if you need more. If you got nothing to add to the likes here, bud.
No, I just wanted to make sure that I gave you your chance to finish.
All right.
So
I could talk more, but
for me, I hated this.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I really like this as well. I did. Don't give me that. Come on, I was joking. Hey, there's a lot of things that I fall asleep during. It doesn't mean I don't like them. Okay.
I fall once or twice. I've fallen asleep during something. Famously, I tried to watch Inception like 5 times and kept falling asleep. Turns out I just didn't really like Inception, but to this day, when I'm feeling a little bit tired but I can't quite get to sleep, I just put that bad boy on, and then like instant snooze for me. There are other things where like, oh, I fell asleep. I didn't mean to, but you know what I always do in those situations? I rewatch what I missed because I was too tired to appreciate it.
I did rewatch it. Yeah, we went back and we finished season 2, episode 2.
All right.
I did. Right. No, I liked this a lot. I liked Loki in this. I thought it was a good arc, especially going from, because we picked up at bad guy Loki straight from Avengers, and so this is not like Loki that went through Ragnarok and even Thor 2, which I think he had some good moments in Thor 2. I don't really remember Thor 2.
Yeah, they always give him just enough.
Yeah. And so it was neat picking up like he was just bad guy Loki here. And so to see him like go through that arc of kind of realizing a lot of stuff, and granted he's able to see alternate pathways and multiverses and stuff like that. So he was able to see what happened in Ragnarok and Infinity War. Yeah, Infinity War. I almost said Infinity Game, and I was like, that's not right. That's not right. But yeah, so I really like this. I really like the variants. I thought the variants that was such a cool move. Having classic Loki in there, and we'll talk a little bit about the variants as we kind of go through the characters. But
sure.
But that was such a neat little Easter egg thing to throw in there. I really liked the reveal of Kang, even though he's not named. We know who he is just based on casting for Ant-Man 3. Yeah, Owen Wilson was really fun. He's looking old, man. He is very, very gray.
Hey! We're all getting old.
As someone who rocks the gray, it looks good on him.
Hey, yeah, he was enjoyable in this.
He was. So I really like this. I'm really curious to see what a season 2 looks like. I'm really curious on how they ended this. And how much this felt like a really big pushing off point for Phase 4. While we were on vacation, I saw Black Widow, and that felt more like a wrap up of Phase 3. This felt like a big push into Phase 4. And so I'm really curious to see how that plays in and how Season 2 plays in. But we'll talk about all Phase 4 and Season 2s and stuff like that during the speculations.
Gosh, we will.
But I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I liked it. I can fall asleep during anything, doggone it. All right. Charlie, was there anything that you disliked?
Did you want to just start here and just go ahead and just start tearing things apart? Give me a chance to defend the show. Go ahead, bro. Why don't you? I saw your list before we started, and it was like 50. You had 50 like bullet points.
I don't.
Of things. I think the first one was put me to sleep.
Oh, come on, give me a break. Okay. Was there what were some of the highlights for you, Charlie?
There wasn't much. To be honest, there wasn't much that I just didn't like. Sure. I can understand. I know there were a group of people out there, or are a group of people, individuals, whatever. There's people out there, you know who you are, who didn't care for the finale, thought it was maybe too exposition driven. And I know that was a complaint about Falcon and Winter Soldier as well, that maybe it wasn't like the, action packed finale that a lot of, we're kind of accustomed to with some of the MCU content. Getting some big like Wizard of Ozian reveal here at the end.
And I really liked the finale.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I thought it was that. I'm saying, I saw some chatter on the interwebs and that was one of the complaints that I saw kind of get levied against the show. I completely disagree with that point of view. I really liked this was like a really well done like character depth piece, and there was a lot of like really nice relationships that were developed and cultivated. And of course, like this wasn't like the perfect finale if it was just a TV show. If it was just Loki the TV show and it was just going to be 6 episodes, which wasn't long enough, and it was just going to be wrapping up a season 1, then yeah, I can understand maybe feeling a little bit cheated. But that's not really what this is, right? It's like a trampoline, and we're like, setting up all of these branches for all these different movies that are coming. So yeah, of course, it's not going to feel really like, like wrapped up in a neat little bow with maybe only a couple of little like carryovers. So I like the finale. I thought the Loki Sylvie relationship, I really enjoyed that quite a bit. The love story worked for me. I know there are people that were maybe a little skeeved out by a little Loki on Loki love. But hey, love who you love. And if that's before we started filming, Brody said, "Hey, look, there was a multiverse variant of me. It was a lady, and we were hanging out, and the moves right." So, Amy, just so you know, he would leave you in a heartbeat for a female Brody that exists in some multiverse timeline. And I know I've said it before, but I really liked the relationship of Mobius and Loki. I thought that friendship was really cool.
Yeah, it was.
We'll talk more about the variants, but the variants were certainly a highlight for me. Eugene Cordero he played Casey, the guy at the desk. What's a fish? He was awesome. He was in The Good Place. If you I don't know if you finished watching that yet, but I enjoy him a lot. He makes me laugh. So. Like Marvel does a great job of casting even these small little roles with only a few lines, and he was just cracking me up. I like him a lot. I don't know. What about you, bro? Any dislikes?
I mean, likes. I agree. I think the variant Lokis were definitely a highlight for me. I laughed out loud when the classic Loki, older Loki, described escaping Thanos, because that was like a theory online, was that Loki had projected himself, and that's what Thanos thought he cracked his neck. And there was like a piece of debris floating in the background of that scene, and there was a lot of people that were like, no, look, that's Loki, you can see like the horned things. And so when he said that, I laughed. And I had to like pause it and explain it to Amy and be like, no, that's like a real thing that people thought that was real. And they were listening. Like Marvel was listening to that whole thing, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna make that real. Like that's so funny. That's so awesome. So that was definitely a highlight for me.
Richard Grant was great. I mean, like the fact that he could be wearing that ridiculous outfit and deliver a performance that was funny and interesting, and then ultimately like a little sad and heartbreaking.
Yeah,
like it was neat. Like he did a great job in that role.
This character that we knew for like one episode, like you got really attached to, and then he shows back up at the end of that episode, and you're like, oh, but wait, like I want you to come back for season 2. So yeah, so that was great. I think all the TVA stuff was really interesting, because there's been so much time travel throughout all of these Avengers movies, and it's neat to know that like these guys have been in the background. It makes you wonder like why they took so long to show up, but yeah, like I don't know. I was really excited for the Kang stuff. I'm still really excited for the Kang stuff. And so, like, any griping there was about him talking too much during the finale, like, I don't care. Like, give me more exposition. Just like, let's just lay it out there and let's just set this stuff up. Like, I don't care if it's a whole episode on talking about like, hey, he's a scientist who discovered that there were multiverses, and some of his versions were nice and some of them weren't, and you kill him, and there's going to be versions of him that are going to want to come and take over. I'm like, that is so comic book. This is It was such a comic book show. Like, so yeah, so that was go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, what the MCU has really been missing this whole time is. Did you ever watch the Magic School Bus?
Probably like
at
30 years, over 30 years ago.
at the end of an episode, they'd have this like fake call-in line, and this kind of like narrator host guy would just be there and answering the phone, and people would be like, if you were really in space, you couldn't take off your helmet even for a second. And he's like, yes, I know, it's just a TV show. We did take some creative liberties, and then like, and they would just and they'd explain some of the science, and like, actually, did you and you just answer these kind of like fake like complaints. That's what MCU. So after you watch a little Endgame or something, we can call and be like, well, what about the timeline with Captain America? And they'd be like, actually, we did take some creative liberties here, and certainly we fudged some of the stuff here, but let me explain to you some of these.
Sure.
I love me some explanation. So the fact that he was kind of talking through how a lot of this worked. I know there's some theories about like what that threshold was that Wanda turning into the Scarlet Witch, was that the moment that threshold hit? Like there's some interesting speculation, and I look forward to finding out more. I like information. This really felt like reading a comic book. Like it really felt like the page turn. I really like the comic book into TV show. Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like you have an issue of a comic book, you finish it, you get the next issue, you start reading right away. Like it's these kind of like story linking to linking, and that format on television works really well. I loved all of these Marvel shows, but this I don't know if it was my favorite. I think maybe WandaVision was still my favorite, but just because I felt more of a heart attachment to that. But I really like this one a lot.
Yeah, I think as far as dislikes, and I don't even think it's as much as a dislike as just
here it comes,
as just
buckle in, folks.
Maybe I just don't get it all the way. Like especially in the finale, like when you start getting into like the timelines, and so there was, they get rid of Kang, and then like it all just starts branching. And like the branches just start going crazy. And I turned to Amy and I was like, now what is happening? Is all the branches the Kangs coming? And how is that affecting the main timeline so much? I didn't quite understand what was going on. Sure. And maybe I was tired because it was late, but I was kind of like, I'm going to roll with this because it's good and it's interesting, but I don't really understand what's going on right now.
Honestly, and I don't mean this as a cop-out, I don't know that you're meant to fully understand exactly what's happening. Okay. I think there's an element of confusion here that is part of the storytelling. You have Loki showing up in this, and he's going over to Mobius, and he's in a timeline that he's never been in before. They don't know who he is, and so there's an element of this kind of like, oh my gosh, what has happened? We don't fully understand the repercussions, and I don't think we're supposed to fully understand the whys and the repercussions yet. And I assume that a lot of that's going to get explored in Doctor Strange and in the upcoming Spider-Man and Ant-Man films, as well as Loki season 2. I'm sure we'll get a lot more information, and they, quite frankly, they might not even know yet. So who knows? They kind of scratching it down on a piece of paper right now as we speak.
Sure. And so that was my thing, was that there was just some stuff that I didn't get, and I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to understand this. I don't know if this was explained in like a previous episode, that maybe I fell asleep for like 2 minutes and then they explained it or what. And so there was a couple moments where I was like, I'm not really sure what's going on. But I also like totally would blame myself on that. So
no. Look, there's never going to be a way to tell a time travel story that makes perfect sense. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to there's always some element of like, okay, I'm going to suspend some reality here because we're never going to be able to time travel.
Sure. We're time traveling to the end of time, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Time is all. It's the end of time and also the beginning of time all at once, and so everything kind of just splinters and exists, and it's who knows.
And there's a cool dragon with really neat sound effects. The sound editing on that was really
sound editing is good. Yeah, I'm telling the score on this one, it better win an Emmy or something. Man, it was so good. Have you ever seen the theremin played?
No.
Oh. Pause this video and go on a different YouTube channel. And just type in theremin and just watch someone play the theremin. It is fascinating. And if someone
an instrument?
It is an instrument. And if someone is not great at it, it is the worst sound that you will ever hear in your entire life. But played well, that's kind of like that weird like sci-fi bending thing.
And so, is that what
It
they used for this?
Yeah, yeah. So it's one of the main, this kind of, it's
Okay.
like you don't actually touch. It's like it's weird. Do you really? I can. Okay. So it's like this. You have like this like wood or sometimes kind of looking futuristic looking thing stand here, and it's got
Okay.
like this kind of pitchfork thing up, and it's electronic, and you control it without physically touching it.
Okay.
So you're kind of like above. It's got these antennas that are kind of sensing the relative position of your hand. So you're adjusting the pitch and the volume by like your hand positions and how you move. And there's all these different kind of like little formations you can make with your hand. These different gestures that bring out different like tones and sounds. It's got these. It's really eerie. It's been around for a long. I think it's like the 50s. But it gets
really?
used a lot in like a lot of like the old
Never
like
heard of this
sci-fi
before.
stuff. It's interesting, and so actually maybe even older than that. It might even be like the turn of the century, but I'll look that up here in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really interesting instrument to watch be played, and the fact that she was able to weave that so seamlessly in, sneaking the Avengers theme in certain moments, and you got these really nice classical instruments and score, and then just like this really warbly sci-fi eerie sound that kind of with the theremin over the top. Oh, so good.
1920.
Oh, there it is. There you go.
It's over 100 years old.
Hey, if you can open up a new window right now and show everyone the theremin right now.
Nah,
Everyone's dying for some theremin
that's
content.
that's copyright.
I
Copyright stuff.
I almost bought one.
Really?
I went through a phase after after my band split up and people were moving away, and I was like, I want to try something new, and I was looking at new instruments that I've never played before, and I stumbled on this, and I was like, do I spend the money? Do I buy myself a theremin? Dare I? And I didn't pull the trigger. It's one of my life's great regrets.
I mean,
'Cause
you
I could
can
just
still
right
get
now
one.
pull
You
one
can- you
out
can
and
still
why?
get
But I can't pull it out for you right now and play it. It would have led up to this moment right here. Would have been, you know what? In a different timeline,
There you go.
Charlie is like rocking the theremin right now on a podcast,
There you go.
and it is glorious.
Here, fun fact about Charlie is he can pick up any instrument, and within 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be able to competently play it. There was one time where we went to somebody's house years and years ago, and for some reason they had an accordion, right? Is it an accordion? and he just Charlie, who I don't think has ever played the accordion before, picks it up, straps it on, and within 5 minutes is playing the "My Heart Will Go On" Titanic song for a group of
come on.
people.
wouldn't
So
love that?
I don't doubt that Charlie could pick up a theremin and like 5-10 minutes he'll be able to do something with it.
All right, we're gonna start a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe or something. Get me a theremin, and then I'm gonna learn it, and we'll make a whole YouTube series of my experience with the theremin.
It looks really
That's
interesting. I'm excited to watch some videos on it when we're all done recording this. So
All right, watch some theremin fails. I'm sure there's got to be some good ones because
man.
it's an easy instrument to make sound brutally horrible.
all right, well, so there's
Anyway.
some likes, some dislikes. So let's go through the characters. Let's talk about some of these characters. Some I
Oh,
keep
okay. Yeah, let's do
bonking
that.
my microphone. I hope that's not coming through.
Ooh, I don't recommend it. I feel like, and I'm just saying this as someone who's had some experience with microphones. If you punch or hit a microphone, I do think that that's a sound that people will hear.
I wasn't punching the microphone. It was the
You're bonking
wire.
it.
It was the wire that I was hitting that was causing the arm to bounce a little bit. So I'm sorry if that came through and it bonked and it sounded bad. I have since moved the wire back there.
Bonk, by the way, the technical term for that. So good. I'm gonna go.
All right. So some of the characters. So let's just talk about these people. Okay.
Let's do it.
Loki.
Hey, I heard of him.
I thought he was great. I thought they did some really interesting stuff. I liked that he was the DB Cooper.
Yeah,
That was
cute.
such
That was
a
funny.
neat little like random thing where he's just causing mischief. I thought he was great. I liked his arc. I liked how he like I liked him going through the alternate timelines. I thought
Yeah.
that was really interesting.
Yeah, the apocalypse stuff was really fun, like going to different apocalypse events and things.
Yeah, yeah. And it showed I liked how this showed him as being pretty smart. Like, he was figuring this stuff out, and he was saying like, okay, it's a Nexus event, but a Nexus event won't go off in an apocalypse situation. And so it showed him like being smart about how Loki thinks. As Mobius is like trying to figure all this stuff out, and they're like, oh, we've been researching this and we've got all this stuff, and Loki is like, well, what about this? And they're like, yes. So I really enjoyed that.
I think, like, aside from Tom Hiddleston getting to date Taylor Swift many moons ago, this might be his greatest role up to date. I think I feel like in some way, like, maybe they've been kind of not trial and error, maybe the wrong way, but they just haven't quite known exactly what to do with Loki.
Sure.
They keep kind of tossing him in these different situations, and Tom's great, and the comic character is fantastic, and so they kind of keep bringing him back and bringing around. And this, I thought, was just the best the character has ever been. So this is, and it made me excited. Like, I'm excited for more Loki, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be how I felt. I was, right before I watched the first episode, I really stayed away. I didn't want to hear anything about the show, so I just didn't have any expectations. And I was like, gosh, I just hope it's good. I hope I'm not just like, Loki, pulling my facial hair out after that, but quite the opposite.
Yeah, I also wasn't sure. And I did watch trailers, and I watched the trailer breakdowns, and it was like, okay, here he is. And the trailers did not really give anything away on this. And part of that is because, with these variants, we see Loki like President Loki in the trailer, and so people are like, how does he get here, and how does this connect? And they show the DB Cooper Loki, and like, how does that connect? Right. And how does DB Cooper Loki connect to President Loki? And like, it turns out that it doesn't. You're like, there are all these like little slices that you get, so it was really neat. I thought Tom Hiddleston did a really good job. Even just the way that he portrayed Loki from the beginning to the end, did show that the character went through an arc. So, I really like that. How about the variants? We talked a little bit about classic Loki. We didn't get like a whole lot. We got like the kid Loki. Yeah. We get the alligator Loki. We got, Amy was asking me, she was like, when was he an alligator? And I was like, I think maybe when Throg was around. But I don't know.
And I want to see, give me that. Maybe an animated series, or it could be live action. Give me a little Throg and alligator Loki.
We got a Throg cameo in this. So
yeah.
It's possible.
I'm watching that.
It's possible. We had the Hammer Loki, Black Loki. So we had him that was kind of like working with President Loki, and so there was some cahoots with all the Lokis. So that was all. It was all really interesting. It's interesting that Loki could be so many different people. Where we have old Loki and young Loki and alligator Loki and woman Loki.
Right.
So it was strange, but it was really cool to see. I'm glad that it wasn't just here's Tom Hiddleston in a new outfit.
Right.
I'm glad that we got all these different types of Lokis.
Agreed.
So, anything else on the variants you want to talk about?
Nope, just I want the alligator spinoff and several plush toys, and we're good to go.
Man, I want an old Loki spinoff. Can we get like what he was doing on the planet alone for years and years and years? What was he doing? It was awesome.
Building a planet.
And they did such a good job on making that costume, that comic book accurate costume, look just the right amount of stupid, with like just a bit of awesome.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of awesome, and like
a little bit.
It like, I don't know. They did such a good job on it. Such a good job.
Yeah.
All right. So Loki was great. How about Mobius? Owen Wilson. Folding into the MCU.
Yeah, welcome to the MCU, Owen. That mustache was glorious. little pencil thin Bill Paxton True Lies, circa 1993 mustache, perfect for like a pencil pusher and a governmental bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It just like right down to the clothes he wore and the mustache he sported. It was like it's just perfect for that environment that they created for the TVA. That's great.
There was a couple times where I was watching him and I was like, should I just do the mustache? Should I just get rid of the beard and
Oh
just
wow.
do the mustache?
Yes, you should. Yes.
I mean,
How long would it take you to grow it back if you shaved down to a mustache?
to get back to here, year maybe,
Okay.
year and a half.
I say risk it.
I mean, I've done the mustache a lot of times. Never with the shaved head, but
Oof.
so.
Picturing it now. Picturing all that beautiful hair clumping up a sink.
Oh gosh.
All right.
So yeah, so Mobius was great. I'm really interested to see. I'm glad that he's back. I was really sad. Spoilers. By the way, this whole episode is full of spoilers, people. I know we've already spoiled a whole bunch of stuff. Spoiler warnings. Spoiler warnings. When they killed, when they zapped or purged Mobius, I was really bummed because I thought he was dead. And I was like, oh, I was really hoping he was going to stick around and all this stuff, and I was really bummed. So I was so glad when he came back around and was there for the rest of it. So I'm really excited to see him. Did he say "wow" at all in this series? Did they have him say that?
Wow. It's entirely possible, but I would not have made any connection to him saying wow. Is that his catchphrase?
Owen Wilson? Yes.
Oh, is that Owen? I thought you were thinking. That was a comic book thing.
Oh.
Wow.
No.
No, I don't think that he did.
Oh. It's surprising. All right.
Wow.
You have anything else on Mobius?
No, I'm excited to see more from him. I'm glad he's going to be on board for season 2.
There you go. All right, how about Selvi? Now, I can't figure out why she's called Selvi.
You don't remember that? So
she didn't like being called Loki. I knew that.
Right.
But then I kept forgetting what her name was, and then they would say it, and I'm like, but why is she called Selvi?
So they do a flashback to her as a kid, and she's playing with some action figures, and
Yes.
one of them is a Sylvester Stallone Rambo action figure. She's a big Sylvester Stallone fan, and so her family called her Sylvie, like Sylvester.
That makes sense.
There you go.
Now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Glad I could clear that up.
at least that's a way for me to remember what her name was, because I couldn't remember. I just called her girl Loki. Made sense to me.
Sylvie, come on now.
So, what'd you think of her?
She was great. I like that they did not just like not only did they have like the Loki variants with like different physical appearances and different tweaks to the costume, but giving them different like abilities that they had, different experiences in their life that brought out different like powers and different things that they were able to do. So I thought that was really neat. So having her be able to do the enchantments and things like that, I thought was cool. And yeah, the actress was great. Sophia Di Martino.
Okay. Sure.
Speculating. I know they had some photos she posted. She had just had a baby, and so she was breastfeeding. So they like had these like zippers on her costume, like underneath like the front, so she could just go whoop. So it was for the breastfeeding. So yeah. Anyway. But yeah, she was funny and good, and I thought she did great in the action sequences. I thought her and old Tom had some nice chemistry together.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see more from her. Do you think that she'll be in like any of the upcoming films, or you think just Loki season 2?
I don't know. My guess would just be season 2. It's tough to say how much Marvel is expecting the movie watchers to watch the shows. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear what you're saying. Absolutely.
And they're already, there's a lot of expectation with WandaVision for them to understand why she's probably showing up in Doctor Strange the way that she is. But to introduce a whole new character and be like, well, for you to know this character, you should have watched the show.
But isn't that the whole point? I mean, isn't that part of like this whole dynamic that they're? I mean, that's like saying, "Wow, if you're gonna read this particular comic book, well, you better have read these comic books," as like a negative selling point to someone whose entirety of earning money is you buying, consuming, and reading these comic books. Like, oh no, you'll have to subscribe to our subscription-based service and watch the shows that we made, spend a bunch of money so that you'll better understand these movies that you want to see. I mean, that's the point. And they have the numbers, right? So they know how many people are watching these shows.
Sure.
And I'm sure it's a lot.
There's a lot of people.
And look, if you're a fan of Marvel, why would you not be watching the shows? Watch the shows, people. If you're a Marvel fan and you want to see the movies and you haven't watched the shows yet, go watch the shows, people.
I think there's
or
also,
at least watch our full recaps.
I think there's also a pretty casual fan base that watches the Marvel movies who probably are not going to watch the shows though.
Well, that's fine, but there's always characters that show up like that. If you read the comic books, you're like, oh, I know that character, and if you didn't, you don't know the character, and it's okay. When Ant-Man shows up for the first time, and people are like, what's an Ant-Man? Or maybe somebody didn't know who Spider-Man was. And all of a sudden, Spider-Man's in a
everybody knows
obviously
Spider-Man.
Obviously, I'm picking the the big characters here, but you have a Don Cheadle, Terrence Howard. You see the
Emmy Award-winning Terrence Howard, not Terrence Howard. Don Cheadle
for like
for his 98-second cameo gets an Emmy nomination for that.
Hey, look, you know what? He's freaking brilliant. He should be getting Lifetime Achievement Awards anyway. I love.
And who didn't get an Emmy Award nomination? The Mandalorian.
Oh, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm sorry,
man. That's another conversation.
That is another. Sorry. But anyway, you see him in Iron Man, and you're like, he's gonna become War Machine, and you have that like instantaneous understanding that is gonna happen, and that's exciting. And if you didn't know that, it would be just fine. Like it's a different level or depth of understanding the future or the universe that you're in, but it's all going to be revealed anyway, and it's fine. So maybe there's more of that with the TV shows. I guess we'll see how they do the movies. We'll see. But I'm excited for give me less explanation at the start. I know we just got done talking about exposition, and I think I actually said the words. I love explanations, but I don't like origin stories as much as like understanding and fleshing out your universe and like explaining the whys and the hows. I think that's great. You want to give me more detail on the characters and their relationships with people, that's great, but I don't need to hear about Batman's parents for like the umpteenth time. Like at some point you can just say, our audience is smart enough to know the Batman origin story. Let's just tell a Batman story. So I'm excited for that we don't have to do a bunch of this stuff. We don't have to explain how Wanda became the Scarlet Witch in the Doctor Strange movie. We can just tell that story, and hopefully people watch the show, and if they didn't, they might be a little confused, or they might just not have that depth of knowledge that adds a little bit of enjoyment to their experience, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you who did not see the show enjoying the movies a little less.
So we'll see. We'll see if she shows up in the movies. I don't know. Yeah. I think my first reaction is like
she won't be there. Yeah, she won't be in the movie.
Probably not, but
probably not.
There's a possibility, I guess. I think she'll be probably pretty self-contained within the Loki series, which they already got approved for season 2, so this is a series that could go on for a while. If they're dealing with time travel, like this could go on for multiple seasons. So
yeah,
but she was great. Really liked her. I don't think. Did I say anything about her? I don't know. She was good.
Yeah, you liked.
I liked her costume. I liked her little horns. She had like the tiny little horns. She was great. I really liked how she was like the most dangerous of the Lokis and the smartest of all the Lokis. And even when Loki was talking with the variant Lokis, and he's like, have any of you encountered like a female of us. And they were like, oh, like that sounds really dangerous. And Loki was like, yeah, she is, and she's like trying to take down the TVA, And so I liked that she was like the most dangerous of all the Lokis. So it was great. All right, moving on. How about the TVA kind of as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on this a little bit. I thought it was great. Like, I think they did a great job blending the music and the look and the coloration and the office stuff of just giving it like this really mundane sci-fi, and like even like the uniforms they wear, like generic sci-fi. Cleverly named the Minutemen because they're like the time and all that stuff.
But it's just like a normal office building, like.
Yeah, I love the little cartoon clock. Miss Minutes. Yeah. I thought just a lot to like. In the universe that they created, there's just a lot to like. The batons kind of dissolving people and pruning them, so to speak. I thought there's a lot of cool visual stuff that was happening that kind of really like put a nice tone to the series for sure.
Yeah, they were really neat. I thought that they, their setup was good with a lot of the explanations that they gave. They used that Miss Minutes to kind of fill in, a lot of the backstory and like what was going on, as Loki's walking through of like, this is who we are and this is what we do. And so they were able to explain a lot of that stuff to us through this Miss Minutes character, which I thought was neat. But yeah, they were really interesting as they kept going on, and they had all these files. They had the timekeepers. What were they called? The
Minutemen?
No, like the main people.
Like Hunter B-15, Hunter
No.
Like,
like the main time, the people that like they said established the TVA.
Sylvie.
No. Oh my goodness. You know what I'm talking about. You're just
Rambo.
No, it's a Rambo.
The lizard people.
The timekeepers, right? Wasn't that they were called the timekeepers? Am I going crazy, Charlie? Doggone it.
You probably slept through this part where they gave them names, but it was like Freddie, it was Steve, and I think it was like Billy.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, the timekeepers.
The timekeepers. Okay. Thank you. I really okay, so in that one scene of them, I really liked their designs. I thought their designs were so cool because they were just human enough and just not human enough to be kind of creepy. I really, really enjoyed their designs. And so they were really cool that they were like these mysterious guys that kind of set all this stuff up. And they were there, and everybody talked about them, and Loki kept wanting to go and see them, and they were like, oh, you can't go see them. Nobody gets to go see them. And so having those, like, that as a thing that existed, really, I mean, it was episode 5 or something like that we finally encountered them. And so they had kind of been built up. I really enjoyed all that, having the backstory kind of be confidential. And there was enough mystery about the TVA to keep everything interesting.
Yeah.
So I really liked that whole thing.
So you know that they weren't real, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was awake for that.
I didn't know if you were asleep. Did you think that when they got beyond into the end zone and peeked behind the curtain, did you think there was going to be another Loki, or did you already kind of know it was going to be?
I had no idea. Well, honestly, I thought it was going to be Kang. Because I just, we knew that Kang was coming up, and with Kang being the time traveler, I thought that the timekeeper was going to be Kang.
Okay.
And so then it showed up, and there were these 3 people, and I was like, what is this? Like, not like an angry, but like an excited, like, okay, like, what's going on? And then they chopped off his head, and he was a robot, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. So it was really exciting for me as somebody who was like, I've got this figured out. To know that it kind of took this swerve, and then eventually did get to Kang.
Right.
And so it was a neat kind of detour on the way that I was not anticipating.
Nice.
All right. Well, speaking of Kang, what'd you think of Kang?
I mean, it was brief.
It was brief.
Right? So, I mean, it wasn't like a got to live with the character for a really long time. Um, I mean, I thought Jonathan Majors was fine. But like he did a good job delivering a kind of a classic, quirky but omnipotent kind of
He was kind of
let me tell
quirky.
you my plan, and but in a way where I'm a little bit less normal. Um, I'm here for it. Like I think he's going to be a great kind of villain for this Phase Four. Uh, I I'm just excited for how it's set up. Like the character itself is interesting, the story is interesting, and so I give me more of it, please. But like his role in this was very minimal. So like nothing that happened I thought was like particularly like jaw dropping or particularly offensive, just because it was so brief. I liked it. I think he's a good actor, and I think he'll be great in this role. And I look forward to just more of that, understanding more of it, and getting more exposure to the kind of like the branches of the timeline and kind of what
Sure.
it all means coming together. But yeah, I'm ready to move past Thanos completely and give me a whole new experience.
Sure, sure. Um, and I, I don't think that. I think this version of Kang, they were probably like, do whatever you want, because this version is not the version that's sticking around. This
Sure.
version we're getting for this partial moment. We get for a half hour in this episode, and then he's going to die off. And I think that the Kang, the Conqueror, that we actually get, that is going to be the big bad of Phase Four, is going to be a very different character. He's going to be acted different. He's going to be
Sure.
just have a much different way about him. So it was interesting. It's not what I was expecting.
Right.
When I was expecting Kang, I was thinking, okay, we're gonna get Kang. We're maybe some version of the comic costume, with like the helmet and stuff like that. And this wasn't what we got, but it was exciting to when he gave that explanation through the neat little like figure thing that reminded me a lot of um, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when Ego was describing like how he was going around to the different planets and had like the
Right.
the models that were moving around. It reminded me of that. But he had
Yeah,
like
that was cool. Like little.
yeah, he had like these little models, and he was telling this story through that. And it's like, okay, I was a scientist, and I discovered the multiverse, and so having that setup was really exciting. And
Yeah.
it kind of, even though this version wouldn't be what I would imagine Kang the Conqueror to be, I was kind of like, well, that's fine, because this isn't Kang the Conqueror. This is like this other Kang that is just hanging out at the end of time.
Sure.
Kang the Conqueror's out there someplace, and he's going to be showing up. And so I didn't have, I wasn't like, this guy. I didn't like the way that he played Kang or anything like that, because it's not Kang. He is Kang, but he's not Kang. Kang.
King.
Time
Now,
travel. Time travel.
now, correct me if I'm wrong, but so Raven Renslayer, am I saying that right?
Are you talking about like the president of the TVA lady?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that character in the comics is a love interest of Kang the Conqueror's,
Ooh,
but
I
also
don't.
like an enemy of Kang the Conqueror's. Is
I
that
am
a
not sure.
Ravonna? Not Raven. Ravonna.
I
Renslayer.
I don't know. So Kang was always primarily like a Fantastic Four guy.
Oh, are we gonna get your dream casting of Fantastic
I
Four?
I well, maybe for another episode. We'll see. Um, I didn't read a whole lot of Fantastic Four, and so what there's some aspects of the Marvel universe where I kind of have like a base level knowledge,
Sure.
and I and
Well,
I I know of like the Fantastic Four. I know a lot of their stories. I know a lot of their bad guys, stuff like that. But like when it starts getting into like Kang's love interest, that I don't know.
tapping out. Well, look, why read the comic books when you have so many wonderful movies to choose from?
Yeah, there's also Wikipedia.
All right, I'm looking it up.
So I'm really excited for Kang. I'm excited for Kang to come back. And I guess Kang would be a nice segue into kind of our speculation. And so now that we know that Kang is coming, Kang the Conqueror is coming, because he said that there's multiple versions of himself that are going to show up. And so I am guessing that we're going to get... See, this is where I'm not sure. Are we going to get a singular Kang the Conqueror? Has he gone through all the multiverse and killed all the other Kangs? And he is like the last Kang because he's the most ruthless. Like, is that what we're getting? Are we going to get multiple Kangs? I don't know.
I hope we get multiple Kangs. I hope it's not, because I mean that's kind of like this. I don't want the Thanos story again.
Sure.
Or, like he's kind of eating worlds up and then coming to Earth, and like similar. Although I will say that the story of Ravonna Renslayer and Kang is that in that particular timeline, her kingdom was like the last one that he had not conquered.
Okay.
And he spared them because he was smitten with her. But she refused. She refused his love because he was a commoner and not royalty. But he swore to win her heart eventually. And he summoned the Avengers to his future in hopes of winning Ravonna's affection by displaying his battle prowess. But instead, the Avengers joined forces with the Ravonna when Kang grew tired of the games and ordered a full invasion of her kingdom. After Kang conquered the Avengers... Anyway, it goes on. But
so nothing like Thanos trying to win over the love and affections of death by killing planet after planet.
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Nothing.
No, all very.
Which we didn't get in Endgame or Infinity War. None of that translated to the movies at all. That was purely a comic book thing of Thanos trying to woo the love of death. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We don't know where she went. She went through a doorway, and we don't know. We don't know how much she knew. She was kind of like crossing both sides of the aisle on.
Yeah, but they left it very ambiguous, and I think that's probably good. Like, I think if this was just a one-off series and not leading into movies, not leading into these other stories, that probably would have been a complaint of mine. Sure. Is that her character was a little all over the place, and they didn't really add a lot of depth to her character. She's like a bureaucrat, but also she's, she wants to believe that everything that they're doing was not for nothing. Which is an understandable position if your whole life has been building this thing, but she also has a past that we don't know about. But apparently she was a school teacher or a principal or something. So I feel like that character could have been fleshed out quite a bit more, and I'm sure it would have if this were just a Loki TV series that was a Loki TV series.
Sure.
We had 6 extra episodes of stories to tell, and it wasn't just all about launching this new MCU phase, but. I do look forward to hearing more from that character. I think that it could be really cool, and I hope that it is.
Yeah.
I got a lot of faith. At this point, Marvel's earned a lot of goodwill with me. I've got a lot of faith. I just kind of say, I'm trusting it.
Sure.
It's going to be good.
So with Kang. So we know that Kang is going to be the bad guy for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Now that that series has been more of a comedic series, and so it's interesting that they're kind of bringing in the big Phase 4 villain into movies that have touched more in the comedy than other movies. So I don't know. Are we going to get a version of Kang that? Maybe he will be more like this. Maybe he will be kind of kooky. We're going to get like a kooky kind of Kang. Or a version of Kang that's kooky, and then another version of Kang that's going to show up someplace else, and
not so kooky.
Kang the Conqueror, where he's just angry. I don't know. We're going to be getting a lot of multiverse stuff in Phase 4. I think we're going to get a lot of versions of different people, and I think that's kind of right up Kang's alley. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how this character plays out.
Agreed. Oh, I'm excited, bro.
All right. So we've got season 2 as well. Season 2 now. Kate Herron the showrunner,
Yeah.
has said that she will not be back for season 2.
That's a bummer.
That is a bummer. I just think of other shows where we've had showrunner changes. You know, I believe the Netflix Daredevil had a showrunner change, kind of. I think it might have been after season 1. You know, and the following seasons just weren't as good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited for season 2. I will be watching season 2. Does losing Kate Herron worry me a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. But I also know that, you know, Tom Hiddleston was an executive producer on this. And so, you know, how much of this is Tom Hiddleston kind of giving his input on as far as the character and things like that? I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of time. I have no idea what they're going to do for season 2. And part of her exact quote was, "I'm not returning. I always plan on just for this one season. To be honest, season 2 wasn't in the." And then she kind of pauses. That's something that just came out, and I'm so excited. I'm really happy to watch it as a fan. But I'm proud of what we did here and given all my work and this. So I mean, who knows? Who knows what really happened, or but. This, so they kind of sprung season 2, and she's like, "That's not what I signed up for." Or if they're like, "Hey, we're going to do season 2, but we want to go in a different direction." Who knows?
How was that not really talked about when this was all being established?
I have no idea. And this was the only one of the three shows so far, Marvel shows, that has a definitive season 2 planned.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really sure how I'm sure it'll come out at some point. I'm sure we'll get more information as the
very
weeks
much
roll on.
Set up. I mean, like, it's, we finished WandaVision, and we're like, is there going to be a season 2? Like, it could go either way. And then they said that this will probably just be a limited series. This was very much set up as we're leaving it where there needs to be a season 2 to answer all these questions because of the way that, those last couple scenes ended. So how early did they spring this on her if they're able to film all this stuff?
I hope we get more information at some point. But when you're watching it, this, of the 3 series, this is the one that felt like its own TV show and not like a mini series or a little anthology here just to tell this one-off story. Give me more of the Lokis and time travel and all that good stuff. I think there's a lot more stories here to tell that are not going to get told in movies. Like Wanda's story is going to continue in the movies. We're going to see that. I don't think we're going to get that with the Lokis. So a showrunner on a show is really important for tone and you can see different showrunners come into shows and just absolutely. The quality just goes in a completely different direction and characters swing and miss. I do feel like that there's enough control that Marvel has enough control
Kevin
over
Feige
the creative
has.
they're just kind of that someone's not going to come in and be like, what would be funny, and just kind of, it's the last season of The Office. Why don't we have the guy behind the camera come out and we'll do a whole story with it? Or we'll make Dexter a lumberjack. It'll be great. These different swings that sometimes new showrunners and new writers will do.
Sure.
I do feel like Marvel could find another talented director to kind of carry on the vision. And I really love the universe she created here. And I think that is something that can be built on. I would love it if she was coming back. And quite honestly, they haven't hired someone else, so who knows? Maybe they're like, here's a truckload of money.
Yeah.
Season 2.
For sure.
Can we, maybe she didn't really enjoy it as that much. I can imagine that Marvel is it seems like this dream for you and me sitting here they're backing up Brink's trucks of money and it's got to be so fun to work with these amazing people, but maybe there's just a certain lack of freedom in the ability to be creative because of the control that they have over who knows.
Well, and you've seen that type of stuff with the movies too. You get some people Edgar Wright, who are very creative and probably have a lot of out there ideas on how they want to do their movies. And they come in, and then Marvel, who runs a very tight ship, probably says like, well, let's do this. We don't want that,
Right.
and then they end up parting ways creatively. But then you get other people who maybe work better with kind of that kind of structured, like, okay, this is what we're looking for. Okay, well, I can work within that, where then directors are being like, working for Marvel is great, and so maybe it's just it works really well for some people and just not as well for others.
Yep. Absolutely. And that, I mean, it's not everything in life, right? So
Sure.
we'll see. I have no speculation on like what season 2 will be like, because I think it's all going to be shaped by the way that the movies tell the story. So they're passing off the baton to these films, and we'll see where those movies take it. And so, do you have some release dates for us, bro?
That's funny. I was just going to ask you if they have announced when season 2 will come out.
I have not heard a date yet.
Okay.
I'm just looking it up right now to confirm that.
I mean, my guess
But
would
it
be
looks
maybe
like
next
maybe
year, a 2022.
look, it has to be after Doctor Strange, right? It's got to be.
Doctor Strange is this year. Doctor Strange is 2021.
And then we get Spider-Man's 2021 as well, right?
Yeah, like December 2021. So we've got Eternals, we've got Doctor Strange, we've got Spider-Man. So it's gonna have. I mean, they're.
When is Ant-Man 2023? It's not, right?
I don't know.
This is just a weird little blurb here. That can't be right.
It's possible. Well, I mean, it's possible, I guess. If it's 2023,
It's 2023. Wow. So it's gonna have to come out before then. So we'll probably get Loki season 2 next year.
we could get Loki season 2 before we get Ant-Man 3. So we could be
it's
getting
looking-
more setup of Kang in Loki season 2 before he even arrives in Ant-Man 3. That's really interesting,
That is.
because they're giving us a lot of setup, like TV show setup before he even arrives in the movies.
Yeah. That's interesting. All right, so we got Shang-Chi, Eternals coming in the end of the year, Spider-Man.
Eternals
December.
is in like a month or something like that.
Eternals is November.
Oh,
5th,
it's
it looks
November?
like.
What's
Yeah,
in
'cause so we
September
get,
then? Something's coming out in September.
Shang-Chi
Oh,
and the Legend of
Shang-Chi.
the Ten Rings.
That's right.
Shang-Chi's coming. And then we get Doctor Strange 2022.
Oh, that is
Thor-
2022. Okay.
And then Thor: Love and Thunder 2022. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever 2022.
Yeah,
and the Marvels.
I'm curious to see how Thor and Black Panther will play into all of this multiverse stuff.
Now that I bet you 2023 Ant-Man, they're gonna at the end post credit scene, I'm calling it right now, Fantastic Four
You think so?
introduction. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, that would make sense, because then we're really kicking off, like, Kang, and they've said don't expect a Fantastic Four any announcements anytime soon. So if they were to do either a post-credit scene or any sort of in-movie announcement or something like that, I don't know. They certainly could, and that would be a good time to do it.
Would be a good time to do it.
With what? So a post-credit scene in 2023 for a 2024 release of...
Could be. Or it could be they could slow play it. I mean, they could be introducing like just Reed Richards or something.
Oh,
they show Chris Evans, and we're all thinking he's Captain America, and then all of a sudden he like lights up like his little Human Torch self.
What else is 2023 then? Because we've got 2021 is booked, or 2022. I'm sorry. What else is 2022?
So 2022 is jam packed. So 2022 you get Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and the Marvels.
The
So we're getting those
Marvels
four
is a
bad-
movie? Oh, it's the new Captain Marvel. That's right.
And then 2023 you get there's only two movies as of now that have been announced, and that's Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, Guardians 3. That's right.
So I imagine we'll be getting more television shows sprinkled in. We get obviously we get Hawkeye and
Yeah.
Ms. Marvel coming this year, along with What If.
And Ms.
And
Marvel
we
will be
get
setting up the Marvels.
Yep, and then we'll get Moon Knight and She Hulk.
I don't know
that's gonna be
where
2022.
Moon Knight falls in the MCU.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting. And then we get Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, coming late 2022.
Yeah.
So that can't be good. And then Secret Invasion is also 2022.
Yeah, that's the other thing is we've also got this Skrull stuff that's being peppered into season 4 as well. So we've got multiverse, we've got Kang, we've got Skrulls that have been set up since phase 3. So we've got a lot going on in Marvel.
There's so much going on.
And now we've got the TV shows as well as the movies. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, whatever season 2 is, I liked season 1 a lot, and so I am going to give them the benefit of the doubt that season 2 will be good. It's going to really depend on the showrunner, but I think we're going to delve really deep into this TVA. Now we've kind of got this mystery of where is Loki? He's
Loki?
just in a new multiverse. Is he in a different multiverse, or has everything changed? Has the past changed where now they don't know where he is? There's a lot of questions to be answered.
A lot of questions.
So
it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to this next slate of Marvel stuff, and they always do it like it's like how are they going to do this without Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. and Captain America? It's like, what are they going to do? And then it's like, oh man, just all right, I just inject it in my veins. Let's just do this.
Maybe they'll get like David Lynch to be the showrunner for Loki season 2. Be really confusing.
It'd be super confusing. We'll have a separate Twin Peaks podcast we can talk about. Did you watch the new Twin Peaks at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay, all right.
No.
Save it for another time.
Oh, all right. Well, you have anything else to say about Loki, Charlie?
No, I'm just excited for we're living in the golden age of Marvel content. So
yeah, we are.
Hey, and can I say this? If you're out here watching this and you're just maybe just kind of getting your feet wet in the Marvel universe, Brody, can you recommend some starter comic books or graphic novels to maybe some of the people out there watching who have just not had a chance to like dive into like some of the lore and history of the MCU? Come on, give the people something to read.
I mean, one that I always really like to recommend to people is Marvels from Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. Really takes you through like the history of the Marvel Universe. It's not like dedicated to one team. You're looking at the Marvel Universe from the perspective of a photographer over like 50 years. Beautiful art, really cool story. What else? I mean, maybe prep for some of this upcoming stuff. Read some classic Fantastic Four with Kang.
Brody's gonna be.
Yeah, I probably will. I have some Kang comics, but not some of the older ones. And really, we don't know where they're pulling from. Are they pulling from newer stuff? Are they pulling from older stuff? We don't know.
You know what we should do, bro? We'll do a segment where you just read comic books and show the pictures. Just 20 minutes of you reading out loud. I'd watch that.
Would
that
get us a copyright claim?
I don't see how it would. I mean, someone would have to see it.
I don't know. What else? Yeah, go read some Fantastic Four. That's gonna set you up, and then
right.
And then come back here for our fan casting of Fantastic Four. So.
That's right. There we go. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, for giving us your eyeballs and attention for a little while. Hey, if you like what you see here, tell a friend. And then they'll tell a friend, and they'll tell a friend. And before you know it, we're going to have enough subscribers for Brody to do a shirtless episode. Below me are some more videos just like this one, but maybe even better. Let's just go with that. And then below Brody, you can click that like and subscribe button, and you can see reminders every Wednesday of when the new content comes out. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.